Paul Williams was one of the most gifted architects of the 20th century.
His legacy of buildings is so strong and so compelling and so wide-ranging.
He had a teacher who very clearly told him, you cannot be an architect.
He was the first African-American architect to have a major crossover appeal to a white clientele, movie stars, movie moguls, affluent people of all kinds.
His MO was, tell me what you're about, and let me make it beyond your wildest dreams.
He was building homes in neighborhoods that did not allow blacks to move into those neighborhoods.
He built the crescent wing where it says the Beverly Hills. That's actually his handwriting.
He was not allowed to stay there. He wasn't even allowed to eat by the pool while he was working there.
It's one thing to be a great artist, but it's another thing to be a leader, to lead in spite of all the adversities that you come upon.
That's why he was a great architect. Trailblazer, game changer.
Paul Revere Williams had a life story and career that could have been dreamed up by a Hollywood screenwriter. Orphaned at the age of 4, he grew up to design mansions for movie stars and millionaires in Southern California. In a 5-decade career, he rose to the top of his profession. And through it all, he waged a constant, if quiet, battle against the racism of the times. Williams was born in Los Angeles in 1894 to parents who had moved from Memphis, Tennessee.
His parents had come here because they had tuberculosis, and they came here for their health.
It was the hope of finding a cure in the bright sunshine and warm weather of Southern California that brought Lila and Chester Williams and their older son, Chester Jr., across the country. They were among the thousands who responded to a direct effort by a city hoping to take advantage of its climate.
When Los Angeles is trying to make this transition from Mexican Pueblo to American City, it's trying to find ways to encourage the railroad to come, encourage people to come. And one of the ways that they began to do is a national campaign celebrating how wonderful the weather is, how it is a place of health. It's a place where oranges grow.
The Williams family settled not far from the city's growing downtown area, where their second son, Paul, was born. Chester Sr. was one of the many vendors who sold their wares at the Old Town Plaza. He supported the family with a fruit stand.
The dryness really had an impact on those who had tuberculosis and other respiratory illnesses. So in some ways, even though LA was selling a myth, there was enough truth to that myth that it would justify people coming to California for its health.
However, the sunshine and warmth did not save Chester and Lila Williams. By 1898, both parents had died, leaving 4-year-old Paul and 13-year-old Chester alone. Homes were found for the boys within the community.
They were raised by separate foster families. The brother was old enough to sort of keep in touch, but he got pneumonia and died in his early 20s.
Paul was taken in by Charles and Emily Clarkson.
She gave him such a gift in that she made him believe that he could be anything and do anything.
The small community of African Americans living in Los Angeles at that time enjoyed freedoms and opportunities Williams' parents could not have dreamed of back in Memphis.
One, it was in the South, so therefore it didn't have the explicit racial discrimination, and it didn't have the threats of violence that were really the key to understanding black life in the South. That doesn't mean that it's free of racism. There were places African Americans couldn't go, there were jobs they couldn't get. Because LA is a small city, you have a little more fluidity of relationships. You have African Americans being able to acquire land, to start businesses. LA, as I like to call it, a place of possibility.